Man, I gotta find a movie. Hmm.
The Tyler Reddick news wasn't even the craziest motorsports news today.
What was the craziest?
Did you see the Alex Palou thing?
No, don't tell me yet. Oh, Ganassi. What? 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 Pelot is leaving Ganassi for McLaren?
No. Ganassi announced uh,
That he was staying?
that they had exercised their option on him. And then Palou came out later and said, I was informed via the media that Ganassi had, and they were exercising their option on me, and included a quote in a press release for me that I never said, and I never approved the quote or the press release. And he said, like, it's not my intention to race for Ganassi next year. And then McLaren and F1 comes out and says, hey, Alex Palou is coming to race for us next year.
Is he driving in Formula One or is he driving IndyCar?
It was the F1 team making the announcement.
So Alex Palou is going to Formula One.
That's what he's saying, right? That's what McLaren is saying. So,
oh my God. What
yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, that's I didn't see that. Oh my God. Wow. Where have I been?
In court.
Yes, listening to horrific testimony. I gotta find a movie. Man. You got a 67, you said?
Yeah.
Damn it. I gotta find one. I gotta find one. I gotta find one. I gotta find one. Sorry, I'm wasting time. I'm so sorry. Because I want to find one that's like, because I'm taking this seriously, damn it. Ugh. Hmm. Damn, this is so stupid. Okay, you know what? Screw it.
Just do what I do. Google movies with 60% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, and usually it's the first link that pops up. And takes me to this kind of old website that just lists movies from 60 to 69%. And then
oh my God.
And then pick the one you want, and then go to Rotten Tomatoes actual and get its most recent score. It's very simple.
Okay. All right, I got one.
All right. All right.
Sorry to spend so much time on that.
That's fine. All right. Let me bring up the race results real quick.
Yes, I have mine up.
And then bring up my column that I wrote. Did I sent that to you, right? Or did I not?
No, I didn't get it.
Okay.
Where's the...
Okay. Go ahead and record. All right. You ready to do this?
Yes.
Have to center yourself.
Focus.
What was that thing in the baseball movie with Kevin Costner, For the Love of the Game? What was that thing that he would say to himself?
I've
Like
never
right
seen
before
that.
a pitch.
I've never seen that movie.
It's actually a decent movie. I actually like it. It was actually directed by Sam Raimi, which is just bizarre.
No shit. Good for him.
It's just this sports like romantic drama movie that directed by Sam Raimi. It's like, okay, all right.
Maybe he's just a closeted baseball fan.
Right. So anyway, all right, let's do this. And welcome to the latest episode of Dropping the Hammer with Dan McFadin. I'm Dan McFadin, recording on Tuesday, July 12th, 2022. And with me, as almost always, is my good friend Jon LaFollette. And really, John, there's nothing to talk about today, really. I mean, there was a race on Sunday. Chase Elliott won at his home track. There's just nothing to talk about, right? All's quiet in NASCAR.
You know, I might have picked a really bad time. In fact, the worst possible time, some might say, to tell you this. But I've decided that I am no longer going to be coming onto the Dropping the Hammer with Danny McFadin. I'm instead taking my talents to another NASCAR podcast. Not like right now, but like 2 years from now.
16 months exactly, right?
Yeah, 16 months exactly. But I know that, I know it's a long time from now, and that things might be a little awkward. Things might be a little awkward between us. Breakups are always a little awkward, right? So like,
I didn't know about this. I'm shocked.
Yeah, I know things have been going well between us on the podcast. We really got, a rapport going here. I know that, we got over the awkward conversations of having a microphone in front of our face over Zoom. I know we were in a really good spot, but I got to do what I got to do. And besides, this next podcast is going to be sponsored by edibles. So but it's not for 16 months. So I hope we can still work together through the rest of this season and the entirety of next season.
I appreciate all the great content we've put together. And we're going to focus on a podcast championship in 2022 and 2023. But the timing of this news just couldn't come at a worse moment. Wait. This just in. Insert breaking news. Oh, wait. Apparently, this just crossed the wire this morning at exactly 12:11 p.m. Eastern time.
You said this morning, and then you said p.m. So which is it?
It was morning for me.
Okay.
It was morning for me at 11:10 a.m. Eastern time. If you're listening to this, you should probably know because it was the biggest bombshell I can remember that wasn't related to Carl Edwards leaving a team and then retiring. No. The biggest bombshell up until this point was Kyle Larson and his whole getting let go from Chip Ganassi Racing in 2020. So no, but other than that, just unbelievable news. Tyler Reddick, the newest NASCAR Cup Series winner, 9 days after winning his first race with Richard Childress Racing, announced in a surprise maneuver in a Teams digital. It's weird to say Teams and not Zoom. So to all you people out there who use Teams instead of Zoom, I hate you.
In the courtroom that I work in, we have Zoom and WebEx, but no Teams.
But anyway, in a surprise Teams press conference, Oh wait, no, the press conference wasn't the surprise. What happened during it was the surprise.
Yes.
And a surprise in a press conference put on by Toyota in 2311 that was announced yesterday on Monday, and was just presented as, oh, here's a mid-season status report press conference for Toyota 2311 Racing. 10 minutes into this press conference, guess who pops in unexpectedly into the waiting room or whatever?
Christopher Walken.
No.
It was Christopher Walken.
No, it was Tyler Reddick. And here's the thing, John. Tyler Reddick was already scheduled for like a Zoom press conference at 1:30 this afternoon to preview Pocono Raceway, which is next weekend. So there was this like 2-minute, this brief, like, wait, why, how in the world did Tyler Reddick wind up in this team's press conference 2 hours early? And they played it off as a mistake in the moment, but very quickly, Tyler Reddick did a Chris Collinsworth like slide around the corner into the frame where Danny Hamlin was sitting behind a table with and the TV behind him with the 2311 logo, and it like everything like very quickly like snapped into place. Like, oh my god! And in that moment, Danny Hamlin announced that Tyler Reddick, 26-year-old Tyler Reddick, with 1 Cup Series win to his name, 2 Xfinity Series titles, will be joining 2311 Racing in 2024. Not next year, not 2023, 2024. And this does not happen very often.
No.
There's like, there was the instance with Clint Boyer where it was announced where he was going to go into H. Scott Motorsports for a year, and then the next year we go into Stuart Haas, and then there was the time with Casey Kane, where he went from Everhand Motorsports to Red Bull for a year, and then was going to wind up with Hendrick Motorsports. So I
think, didn't Kevin Harvick also race he announced he was leaving Richard Childress like a whole year beforehand before he went to Stuart Haas, something like that.
I would need to look that up. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, the guy who we all kind of assumed would be this bedrock building block for Richard Childress Racing isn't going to be there after next year. So this was a shock to everyone, including Richard Childress Racing. They did not find out about this until this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the middle of this press conference, Richard Childress Racing puts out a statement saying basically what I was aping earlier, saying we're still going to be seeking championships in 2022, 2023. We really appreciate what Reddick's done, but this news could have come at a worse time.
Like, what does that mean? Was like Richard Childress like taking a dump? Like, was he like on the like what?
Okay, come on, man.
What does that mean? No, I'm serious.
No, this is 9 days after they won. This is like 9 days after. Yes, all this work we've been doing for the last 3 years finally came to fruition. We can finally really start, planning for the future when it comes to like sponsor deals and stuff.
Right, I certainly understand
that stuff. Like
for sure. Tasteless poop jokes aside, yes, I understand. I understand where they're coming from. Certainly, these, NASCAR is not necessarily like NFL or the NBA where there's not like necessarily a big cycle of free agents every year. A lot of these these agreements, because of the nature of the business with sponsorships and everything, these are oftentimes months in the works. And like you said, it seemed like they weren't at the top of the mountain, obviously, because it was just 1 cup win. It's his first cup win. It's a notable thing, but like everyone assumed, that's why this was such big news.
Like,
everyone assumed that this was the beginning of something else at RCR.
Yeah. Like as I wrote a column this afternoon, which you can find at frontstretch.com. It's like his win at Road America was the most convincing Richard Childress Racing Cup victory since Harvick's last year in 2013. Reddick just went out and won it. There wasn't any last second pit stop tragedy, last lap crash, fuel mileage. It was just a straight up win. And like I spent April and May of this year reporting for a story for Speed Sport magazine about the resurgence of Richard Childress racing and how Reddick was a key part of this. That story published this month. Just in time for Reddick's win. It's like, how about that for timing? 9 days later.
Yeah. I really wonder, and I know that you texted me earlier saying that you spoke with someone you spoke with someone who works for Richard Childress, and I don't want you to reveal a source or anything, but like, did you get any sort of inclination about just, it sounded like they were all blindsided too. Like they literally had no idea that Denny Hamlin was just, sniffing under the dinner table here.
Well, Denny Hamlin said in the press conference today that they've been having these conversations for basically a year. It's it started off very casually, not like hey, like he said, it actually kind of started with Reddick reaching out to 2311 or him, I don't know, like right after they started the team and saying, I like what you're doing. It looks like you guys are really pushing the limit, blah, blah, blah. And, it just, I guess it slowly just snowballed, and Hamlin went and got permission from Toyota. It's like, hey, can I go pursue him? And they wholeheartedly like, yes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And and then I tried to find out like when everything was signed. Like when was this a done deal? Because like, was it before Road America, after Road America? Because like, if you're like in the middle of this victory celebration in Road America, Wisconsin, for a team that feels like they're finally coming back to relevance, and maybe if even in that moment that, okay, yeah, I'm not going to be here all that much longer, like that kind of changes the optics of it in hindsight anyway. In hindsight. So I never figured it out. This year started with Kyle Larson at Daytona Speed Weeks, like warning everyone that Tyler Rex is going to be the guy who has the breakout year. He said he reminds me of me, like early on in my career. I was like, okay, if the defending Cup champion is saying this about Reddick, we all need to be probably paying attention. And it arguably he should have won Auto Club, was two corners away from winning Bristol Dirt. And if there's not like I believe if there wasn't like a late caution at Darlington, the pit strategy was going in Reddick's favor to where he would have assumed the lead and probably could have won Darlington, but he finished second in. So we could be talking about 4 Reddick wins at this point. But you could have that same conversation about Ross Chastain. You could have 5 wins right now. So you're getting into hypotheticals and all that. But he's having a great, good year. Like, I mean, before Road America, we were talking about, oh man, he's tailed off.
Yeah.
But when you take the broader picture, it's like, damn, he's really flipped a switch. So yeah,
is there anything, because like, say that this is like the NBA, say that Tyler Reddick plays for the Lakers, and like he still has a year on his contract, but then the Knicks still pursue him to sign a contract that expires, a contract that takes effect after his contract with the Lakers expires. Like that's tampering, and in the NBA you can't do that. Is there any sort of like, could Richard Childress, I'm asking a genuine question, like, because I legitimately don't know. Is there any sort of procedure by which Richard Childress could like go to NASCAR and complain or try to get something done about this? Because like, look, I'm all for drivers. I'm all for driver movement. I'm all for drivers going to where they want to go. I'm all for driver power.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he is under contract to drive for this team.
Yeah.
So
first off, NASCAR drivers are, independent contractors. For that
yes, yes.
Back on July 2nd, the day before Reddick's win at Road America, we're in the garage. We're doing the qualifying media bullpen, and a reporter from NASCAR.com just kind of like just innocently brings up, hey, ask Tyler, hey, are you set in stone for 2023 and all that? It's like, I don't think she knew. I didn't know at the time, but early this year, Richard Childress said, yeah, we're going to pick up his option. So it was that was already in place, but I didn't know it at the time, and I don't think she knew it at the time. So when Reddick answered, yeah, that's all taken care of. I'm going to be with RCR in 2023. He's like, oh, okay. So in that moment, it was news to me. And then Bob Pockrass followed that up and said, have you started talking to anyone about 2024? And I went back. I was videoing this at the time. And so I went back earlier today and watched this video. And Bob Pockrass, he has barely finished asking the question. And Reddick gets a smile. And then he stops smiling, but it's very brief. He smiles while Bob's asking this question. It's like, and so in hindsight, it's like, oh boy.
Yeah, no, that's and I and this also, we'll find this out later, and I'm sure that there's been internal dialogues at 2311 about this, obviously, but the immediate thing that everyone was asking, including me, as soon as I was at work when you texted me this because I hadn't seen it yet. My immediate response was, what is it, a 3-car team, or is Kurt Busch out the door?
They don't know yet.
Okay.
Like Hamlin and 2311's president Steve Valletta both said, like, all we know right now is that we have Tyler Reddick in 2024 and beyond. Like, we don't know how many cars we're fielding that year. We don't know what the sponsors are. And their arguments, like, that's part of why we're doing this so early, is that we can figure that out later.
Yeah.
We and this, like, you now have 16 months to get sponsors, to attract sponsors, saying, hey, we got this top flight prospect who we really like. And honestly, like, even personally, I can't think outside of Kyle Larson in the last few years. I can't think of a driver in the Cup Series who has generated this much hype around him, just about what the potential he has.
Right.
Because when Larson came in, everyone was like, next big thing. Also, the same thing with Chase Elliott. It also took them 4 years each to win a Cup race.
Yeah.
Like Reddick, Elliott and Larson each won in their 99th start. Reddick won in start 92. And which is, when you think about it, there's been lots of, when's Reddick going to win? And when, like I said, you take this wider view, okay, he's now just marginally ahead of where Larson and Elliott were. And they're now the last 2 Cup champions. So he has a lot going for him right now. Mm-hmm. Even though when he won his first Xfinity title in 18 with Junior Motorsports, he only won 2 races that year. The first one at Daytona and the finale at Homestead. So even after that year, people were like, is he that great? And then he went on a tear with RCR the next year.
And this isn't just a win for 2311. It's also just a win for Toyota because, they've got Martin Truex Jr. and Kyle Busch, who, as good as they are and as competitive as they still remain, they're at the back end of their career. And even I know that
Busch is only 36.
Yeah, but I mean, that's
Truex is in his 40s.
True, and I know Kurt Busch is older as well, but I'm just saying, Kyle Busch has less races to run than he has more races that he's already won. If you know what I mean, he's definitely on the back end of his career. Mm-hmm. Now, not only with Tyler Reddick, but also with Ty Gibbs. You've got 2 very good prospects. I mean, I know definitely Tyler Reddick is obviously ahead of Ty Gibbs just because of age and whatnot. But I'm just saying, like, those are two drivers that Toyota can bank on for a considerable amount of time, and can really fill in the gaps for some of the older drivers that they have who are leaving or soon to be leaving. So,
but you also got to think Toyota has a history of losing drivers,
yes,
like losing prospects.
Daniel Suarez.
Daniel Suarez, Eric Jones, Kyle Larson, I believe, was a Toyota driver way back when. Bubba Wallace was a Toyota driver, then he wasn't, now he's back. So like this is a coup for Toyota. So, and I mean I was thinking about it earlier. I think I've already talked about it. Like I said, he only has one cup win, and I can't think of there ever being a silly season move involving a driver who's done less than Reddick has, and it being such a big deal than what today was, because this was a big deal. Can you think of?
No, I honestly can't. I mean, I think this is probably the biggest, at least for me, this is probably the biggest driver announcement probably since Earnhardt Jr. announced he was leaving DEI.
I took that into consideration. It's like, all right, take Dale Jr. off the table.
Yeah, that's something. That's a whole other stratosphere. I mean, I think just Bubba Wallace leaving Richard Petty to go to a new team. And
maybe Kyle Busch going from Hendrick to Gibbs.
Right. Yeah.
That might be it. He only had 4 or 5 wins at that point in the Cup Series. So that's probably the closest. Really, I would love to talk to someone who's been doing this longer than I have. So.
Yeah, for sure. No, I mean, there's nothing aside from that. There's nothing really else that comes off the top of my head. I mean, the thing that made Bubba Wallace's move was just the fact that not only he was moving, but who he was going to, because it was the whole splash of Michael Jordan's now going to be a NASCAR team owner. So that was also part and parcel of it.
And he was literally the most recognizable NASCAR driver.
Yes.
In the moment after that summer.
Yes, so, that is true. But no, just like if I know that, ESPN always does the trade value columns for the NFL and the NBA. Like if you could like hypothetically trade drivers amongst teams, like Tyler Reddick has to be like the number one guy, right? Just given his age and his potential, like he would
versatility. He's good everywhere.
Yeah. Like he would have to be like the number one trade value target, would he not?
Oh, yeah. Well, I think you can actually
of cup level drivers.
I actually think it's a toss up. Like among drivers who aren't already champions. I think it's a toss up between Reddick and Chastain at this point.
That's true. Yeah. But if Reddick's not pissing off half the field, he's just pissing off his owner. So, but we can get to Chastain's woes later.
Like you brought it up, but I didn't really mention. But yeah, like in the middle, like towards the end of the press conference, I reached out to an RCR executive asking. I was trying to get them on the phone. Like, do you want to discuss this? And the response I got was, Daniel, we were shocked to hear the news today. And then they just kind of sent me the actual statement again that was posted on social media. So
I really wonder what was going on behind the scenes there.
Reddick kind of, he said this shouldn't have been a total shock to the team, because when we were talking about the future and when like the options ended, he said we told them we weren't sure if we were going to come back after those options. So from what he said, RCR should have been aware that they were out. I
wonder if RCR just expected they would get the first bite at the apple, given that he was already in house with them. I mean, look, I told you this over the phone when we were texting. Like RCR's response is incredibly petty to put that out. You are a Cup level series team. one of the more prestigious teams because you had Dale Earnhardt in the number 3. You've got the iconography with your team. And like, you have every right to be upset because if I was in their shoes, I would be upset too. And it's totally reasonable. But to immediately put out a press release like that seems so knee-jerk and so petty, it seems beneath what supposedly their status is supposed to be, right? Like that seems like a Bush League move. You can be internally, you can be as pissed off and as upset as you want to be. But, you know, if I'm a young driver and I see the way they reacted to that, maybe I have second guesses about maybe wanting to race for them, especially given the perception that Austin Dillon's the golden boy there just because he's Richard Childress's granddad. I mean,
yeah. Well,
it's not his fault. It's not his fault, but like that's still the perception. It's a fair perception.
When I think about it, that response doesn't feel all that surprising because teams are reflective of the person's name in the title.
That's true.
Roger Penske would never have that kind of statement. Joe Gibbs would never have that kind of statement.
No.
Like Rick Hendrick would never have that. But Richard Childress, the guy who told someone, hold my watch after I'm going to go beat someone up, that being Kevin Harvick, his former driver or even current driver at the time. I don't know. Like that's Richard Childress. He's a blue collar guy. He's incredibly wealthy now. All right. Incredibly wealthy.
Yes.
But like, he's not Joe Gibbs. He's not Roger Penske. He's not like, he was a down in the dirt guy. He was a just scrapping to get by racer back in the 60s, 70s. And then Dale Earnhardt came along and just changed his life.
Yes.
So that guy still exists. Despite the vineyards and all that. So
just go take one of those edibles you profess to love so much, man. Just mellow out a little bit. It'll be okay. Just go find another Xfinity driver.
But he is a more rough and tumble guy
for sure
than pretty much any other Cup Series owner.
Yeah,
really.
You're probably right.
So that last line of that statement sounds petty, but it also feels honest. So, and
that's fair.
And hey, I appreciate that. so many times the statement's like, oh, we're so glad we worked with him. We wish him his best. But hey, you know what? This time,
what does your, like right now in the moment, what does your gut instinct tell you is going to replace the number 8? Who's going to replace? At least, it stinks, but like at least they have 16 months to figure something out here.
Yeah. Noah Gragson posted a tweet at some point in the aftermath of all this. It was simply just an emoji, a smiling emoji. And right now, like Gragson, who is sponsored by Bass Pro. Bass Pro is a sponsor at Richard Childress.
Yes.
Gragson drives part-time for Colleague Racing in the Cup Series. Colleague Racing has a partnership with RCR.
Yes.
So,
yeah, that seems the most logical because like there's not going to be a vacancy at Hendrick anytime soon. It looks like so.
That's going to be the lineup for the decade.
Yeah, for a decent amount of time. So, that's what my gut tells me too.
The only weak link is probably Bowman, really. But I think he's going to be there for a while.
Yeah, that's what my gut tells me too. And I think Gragson winds up being in the number 8 next year, and not next year, excuse me, 2024. But you know what I mean.
But Colleague Racing, they're having to debate whether they're going to have 2 full-time drivers next year rather than just one and another cut that's split up among the three different drivers. So next year, Gragson could theoretically be the second full-time driver for Colleague and Cup. And then after that, go over to the 8.
And I don't know. Part of me would like to see Allmendinger get a full-time Cup ride.
He's done with that.
Yeah, it seems. Yeah, it seems like if it was ever going to happen, it already would have happened.
So. It would have been this year. He would have been, but he would much rather. Well, think about it. Collie Cup cars outside of the road courses.
They really haven't been much this year.
They haven't been. We're not talking about them.
Right.
So, so it's been established that he's very happy being in that competitive car in the Xfinity Series and going out and kicking butt.
Yeah,
I believe he's currently leading the points.
I think he is. Yeah, that sounds right.
I totally get it. Like,
yeah,
I'd rather go out. I'd rather go out and have fun each week, lead the points, rather than what's happening on the Cup side right now.
Happiness is where you find it. And speaking of happiness, we saw Chase Elliott smile after winning a race.
He does have emotions. He does have emotions.
I know, but like I'm a Chase Elliott fan, but like he just can be such a blank slate sometimes. Even after he wins, in some of these interviews, it seems like he's just already bored of being there. So it was cool to see him, winning at his home track and seeing all the fans there.
Hey, John, did you know that Chase Elliott is from Dawsonville, Georgia?
Dude, so this blew my mind. This absolutely blew my mind. Please tell me that you saw this or you were not aware of this. So Rutledge Wood is in Dawsonville at the pool hall. Yes.
Let me check my notes real quick. The whole NBC City View thing. Dawsonville, Georgia is not Hampton, Georgia. It is not Atlanta, Georgia. It's Dawsonville, Georgia, which is like an hour north of Hampton, Georgia, where Atlanta Motor Speedway is located.
But you've got Rutledge Wood at the pool hall in Dawsonville, and after there's fans know that whenever an Elliott wins a race, the siren starts blaring.
How many E's is that? 3, 4? How many sirens?
It's America. As many E's as you want, brother. But hell, letters are fluid. So is gender. As many E's as you want. That's my progressive redneck. No, so after Chase Elliott wins, they cut back to Rutledge Wood at the pool hall, and they're getting ready to start the siren. And to get the siren started, a guy hooks a jumper cable to a battery in his car.
I missed that. I literally fast forwarded through it.
The siren is powered by a car battery, a running car battery.
I think there was a malfunction, and they had to do it that time.
I hope it's a malfunction. But like, part of me wants that to be a thing that happens. Like, how perfect is that at this tiny little town in Georgia? And I'm not shitting on little towns. Like, I grew up, I went to high school in a small town. It's a bigger town now because everyone's moved out to the suburbs. But like, I'm not dumping on small towns. But like, I just think it's perfect for like in my mind now, whenever Chase Elliott wins a race, I'm just going to think about this like 2002 like Toyota Corolla with a jumper cable hooked up to its battery, and some guy named Earl is just like standing on the gas while the siren blares and everyone's just like going nuts for Chase Elliott. I laughed so hard. I watched that race at my parents' house.
I didn't learn about that until I don't think I learned about that until today. I was like, what?
So good. Go back and watch it. It's hilarious. Oh, I couldn't stop laughing about it. It made me so happy. But yes, I just like, I think it was during pre-race, and it was like the first hit that Rutledge did there. It's like just standing in this diner or whatever, saying, "This is so exciting!" And it's just a room full of middle-aged people just calmly sitting, watching Rutledge, and one like teenager going, "Yeah!" Like, did you see Corey LaJoie's post-race interview?
Yeah.
So they kept cutting back to the pool hall, and there was this little old lady sitting there, and I guess she must go there every week or something. Corey LaJoie knew about her and referenced her on the broadcast. Maybe he saw a replay or something, but like maybe this woman is just known within the NASCAR circle, or someone or just drivers who have been to that pool hall with Chase Elliott. I don't know. Either way, Corey LaJoie knew about this little old lady. And so when they're talking to Corey LaJoie about, watching Chase Elliott come in first place after what happened on that last lap, which we can talk about here soon, Corey LaJoie immediately was like, "Yeah, that old lady at that pool hall was cheering too hard." It was just like, how does he know? Like, I want to know how Corey LaJoie knew about that old lady. Like, just the whole confluence of events of watching the car battery powered siren with Corey LaJoie talking about the old woman that he obviously couldn't see from the broadcast because he's racing the actual race. It just blew my mind. It was almost like I was in a time warp. I was like, this isn't reality. It's just a simulation. Plus with Chase Elliott smiling and acting like he enjoyed himself after something good happened to him. It was weird. It was really weird. But yes, Corey LaJoie, Chase Elliott. Everyone made a to-do about that last lap incident. How'd you see it? Fair, not fair.
It's the last lap. I mean, LaJoie has to make the move.
Chase has to
make his like it's the win. It's his home track. LaJoie wants his first win. Everyone was in the right.
It's just a racing thing.
It's just I would rather if LaJoie had been able to get side by side with them at least.
Yeah, so, same. I would have liked that too. I never want to see a race end under caution. It's no fun. I would have liked to have seen a last lap, side by side run down to the start finish line to the checkered flag. But that track is I know that Atlanta's set up like a super speedway now, but it's still just a 1.5 mile tri-oval. And that track is so short. It's not Daytona. It's not Talladega. When you got your run, you got to take
narrow.
it. Yeah, it's very narrow. So when you got your run, you got to take it. And if you're Chase Elliott, if you're in the lead, you got to make your blocks. And if he doesn't go up and block, he's getting passed. And that track is so short, he probably doesn't have a chance to chase him down again. So, and I know, look, you've got Chase Elliott, who's the golden boy. And you've got Corey LaJoie, who hasn't won a race yet, and he's popular with fans, and I get it. And there's a certain contingency of NASCAR fans who are always going to think that Chase Elliott gets special preference because of who he is, where he comes from.
And I've said it on this, I think, within the last 2 weeks. If NASCAR rigged anything, Dale Earnhardt Jr. would be a 10-time champion.
Yeah, and Danica Patrick would have won a race. Bubba Wallace would make the playoffs every year. I agree. But
also, you just can't rig super speedways.
No, you cannot.
There was like a 13 car, multiple crashes.
Yes, and including Austin Dillon's really hard hit. I was really worried about him for a second. And they didn't show him getting out of the car. They just cut back to his car, and the net was down and he was out. But they didn't show him getting out, and I got more and more nervous as that went on. But that was an incredibly hard hit.
It was, and they never
1 o'clock angle, passenger side first.
Ever showed it at full speed, which is this whole thing that both Fox and NBC Sports do. They pretty much almost only use slow motion replays. Mm-hmm. After there's a wreck, you very rarely see a full speed replay, and it ticks me off.
I remember, even in real time, because he hits the wall right by the camera. Even in real time when it happened, I was watching the race with my mom and dad, and we all were just like, oh, because we just. When you see that kind of hit, it's always scary, even with the safer barrier in this new car. So I was glad to see that happen. But also, how about the durability of this car? Joey Logano was sideways, back tires off the ground, and
he was airborne.
Yeah, and he had a great finish.
He was legally airborne.
Yes, yeah, and lots of heavy contact for a lot of cars, and they more or less just went in and got some tires, went back out, and kept racing. Imagine how much money teams would have lost if this was still the old car.
And think about it. This is the second Atlanta race this year where Ross Chastain has been in an accident and finished second.
Yes.
He was technically in 2 accidents.
Yes.
He was in the accident where Truex was in front of him and Truex got loose and got into him. Multi-car wreck. And then the whole Denny Hamlin saga continues with 14 laps to go. And he's still finished second for his 10th top 10 of the year.
Yep.
Which there's bear bond on both sides of Chastain's hood, and he's still competing. He's still fast. It's astounding.
And speaking of bear bond, that was part of he blamed the bear bond and some of the loss of aerodynamics on his car for getting loose and getting into Hamlin. And as much as I like Ross Chastain, and as much as I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, this, especially with Denny Hamlin, this isn't your first rodeo.
He was trying to slow him down via side draft, and there's not a side draft with this car.
No, there's not.
Drivers have said there's no side draft, and went around.
And want, like I said again, you want to give him the benefit of the doubt, but at this point, he's pissed off. it feels like half the field. It feels like every week he's making a new enemy. And
well, I thought Austin Dillon said in his post-race interview, it's like fell victim to Ross Chastain once again. Something like that. It's like, oh.
And I thought of a new idea for a NASCAR like parody of a game. You know how like there's like NASCAR Monopoly or like Disney Monopoly. How about NASCAR Clue, where Ross Chastain has been taken out and you have to figure out who did it? Like was it Denny Hamlin? Was it Denny Hamlin with a crowbar in the pit stall? Was it Austin Dillon with an air gun in the hauler?
It was Martin Truex Jr. with a watermelon.
It was Martin Truex Jr. with a watermelon. Where at? Probably in
the Bass Pro Shop.
In the Bass Pro Shop. Martin Truex Jr. takes out Ross Chastain with the watermelon at like the Bass Pro Shop, like the big one inside the pyramid in Memphis.
You see where a spotter said, it's like, I better not run into him at the food line.
Yeah.
I tweeted, Fight Club at the food line.
That's just gonna be like my go-to now for any time someone does anything like remotely like just even like a minor inconvenience, like someone like I don't know, like I'm at the grocery store and someone like cuts me off or something, like it's something that's like just like mundane. I'm just like, I hope I don't see them at the food line.
I'm guessing you've never been to a food line, John.
I mean, what are we talking? Are we talking about like bread?
Say what?
Are we talking like what kind of food line are we talking about here?
Just a restaurant. That's not a restaurant. A food line is a grocery store. It is a Southeast grocery store chain.
Okay. Yes, no, there is no food lines that I'm aware of. At least in Indiana.
It is primarily a Southeastern.
Okay. I thought we were talking about like a line like at the concessions or something. Okay, so hope I don't see like the grocery store later this week. Is this basically what he was? Okay.
Food line. It's like Food Lion and Food City.
Lion?
Food Lion, LION.
Like the animal. I thought you were saying food line, and I just have images of like Depression era bread lines. It's like why would Ross Chastain be at a bread line? Like if anything, it'd be like a watermelon line. And second of all, like he's got lots of money. He's a Cup Series driver. Why would he? Like I know inflation sucks and the economy's not great, but like Ross Chastain's doing fine. Food Lion, yes, that makes way more sense.
The title of this episode will be, what is a food lion?
What is a I'm from Indiana, folks. We have Kroger. So I'm trying to think. Is there anything?
We spent like 3 minutes talking about a food line, and you didn't know what we were talking
about. No, I didn't. Well, I thought you were saying food line, and I was what are food line? Yes, I'm sorry. Anyways, I have a question, Daniel.
Okay.
So here's what I'm going to list some drivers, and you tell me what they all have in common.
Okay.
Aside from being playoff drivers, they're all playoff drivers. So aside from that, what do they have in common? Kyle Larson, Tyler Reddick, Daniel Suarez, Kurt Busch, Chase Briscoe, Kyle Busch, Alex Bowman, Austin Cindric. What do all those drivers have in common?
One win?
Yes, but aside from their wins and their playoff appearances guaranteed, so we assume for now, given the way the standings are, what do they have in common? All those drivers, I just listed all these drivers, they are all only separated by one playoff point. All those drivers. 3 of them have 6, and the rest of them all have 7. So look, if I am, just to throw some names out, if I am Austin Cindric or Chase Briscoe or Daniel Suarez, and I've already got my playoff spot guaranteed, at least for now, and I know I'm not going to win the regular season championship, should I start approaching races not necessarily to
stage wins? You go for stage wins.
Just go for stage wins.
Yeah.
That seems, I know that drivers are competitive and it's way more valuable to win races, but with things being this close and things being this competitive, why not just make the rest of your regular season, these last, 7 races or however many we have left, why not just make those just a way to just gorge up on stage wins, get some points, and just go out there and try to go a different way. And if things go your way, if you get a caution that breaks your way and you can still go out and win a race later in the race, that works too. But it just, why not? You have nothing else to lose.
Well, outside of Cindric, because he's good at Daytona and he's good on the road courses. So he's got Watkins Glen and the Indianapolis road course coming up.
Yeah.
So those are 3 races he has a shot to actually just straight up win. So outside of Cindric, who are the other ones?
I just named Cindric, and then Briscoe and Suarez, just as 3 drivers.
You also mentioned Larson. Larson, he can go for race wins.
I didn't. If I said Larson, I didn't mean to say Larson. I misspoke. Obviously, Larson go out there and get wins. That's not. But I'm saying like Cindric, Briscoe, and Suarez in particular, like drivers who could very well win another race, but if they're not going to win a regular season championship, so they won't get the bonus points for the playoffs that way. So why not, to differentiate yourself, just try and get as many stage wins as you can.
Yeah.
Just to give yourself a little cushion, because right now you have no cushion.
Yeah.
You have none whatsoever. Why not?
No. You're right. You're completely right. Though Suarez has front running speed, so I think you have to take stock of the tracks you think you're good at, and so the ones you're not 100% about, you go, okay, these races, if we're at a certain point in the race and it's not looking great, try for the stage win via pit strategy or whatever. Yeah. But when it comes to tracks that you think you have a good shot at, like Cindric, like I said, with road courses and speedways, go for it. Just go for the win. Just try. But
here's the thing: will anyone do it? We agree that they should do it, but will anyone actually do it? Do you think anyone will actually do this?
NASCAR is plagued by people being presented with situations that make sense for them, but then not doing it.
Right.
So
like, I agree with you. Like, don't go out there like look, if you have a front running car, go for the win. But like, if you just like sucked in qualifying, you were bad in practice, you just do not have the fast car that week, just throw something different. Like, just get yourself a point. That's still a win because you're giving yourself a cushion. And I know it's just 1 point, but right now the difference between 1 point is 13th in the playoff standings versus 6th. Like that's huge. And all it takes is one bad race to screw you in the playoffs.
It's good. Two races from now is Pocono, and Pocono is this huge track, huge 2.5 miles, which pit strategy comes into play because you can pit and not lose your spot, or too many spots. So that will be one of those races where you have to weigh what you're going to do when it comes to stages. And you saw that at Road America.
Yeah.
Ryan Blaney stayed out and got the stage 2 win. And so that, yeah, Pocono's going to fall into that same category. So we only got 8 races left in the regular season, man. There are 3 spots left that aren't locked in. I think we're getting to 16.
I think we will too. I really think we will too. I'm still sticking with Blaney, Truex, and Harvick to win at least one. I know that Stewart Haas is not where they were a couple seasons ago. And even Harvick especially, it just, what a 180 it's been from winning 9 races in one season.
Yes.
To now it's just he might miss the playoffs entirely. I don't know what the issue is at Stewart Haas, but none of those drivers on a week-in, week-out basis have speed to be consistent. They'll have it 1 week, and then the next week it seems like either they don't have speed, or if they do have speed, there's a pit issue.
We're at New Hampshire this weekend. Eric Almirola just straight up beat him there.
Yeah, that's true.
Last year. So that'll be interesting to see.
I'm curious how New Hampshire is going to go, given the way that things went at Martinsville. I know it's size-wise, it's a different track, but it's a flat track. And
it's a big Martinsville. That's what it is.
So I really,
with slightly less banking. So
I really hope we get a good race. I'm hesitant Obviously, obviously, I don't want a bad race. I want every race to be good, but I'm really hesitant about this one.
Well, no, New Hampshire, forever, it was always like we talked earlier this year about like what are your tracks that you want the next gen car to fix. New Hampshire for a long time was one of those tracks.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing ever memorable happened there. But the last 3 years, they applied the PJ1, and it turned into a racy track. And
everyone at Texas is like, how did they do that? how did the PJ1 actually worked? We don't have to consider being like off the Cup Series schedule entirely. What's going on?
Outside of Bristol, the PJ1 worked on relatively flat tracks.
Mm-hmm.
New Hampshire, it improved. It helped at Pocono. It like those were like the two non-Bristol tracks. Was like it actually helped. That was undeniable. But whether it was just a combination of the PJ1 and the car finally meeting up with the track in some manner, because last year the PJ1 actually wasn't really there. There might have been like some remnants of it, but it wasn't like heavily used. And last year's race was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Until it got dark. So yeah, after 3 years of good racing in New Hampshire and what we saw at Martinsville, even I'm like,
mm-hmm.
Are we just going to go back to old New Hampshire?
Yeah, is it just going to be, qualifying determines the winner, basically, assuming something freaky doesn't happen in terms of like a late race caution or something? I genuinely don't know what to expect. I really don't want this to be just another Martinsville on a bigger track. I want this to be racing. Because like you said, New Hampshire, I agree with you. New Hampshire was a race that I always more or less just kind of ignored. But the last couple of years, it's been pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's just because our expectations
when you have
when
you have Jenny Hamlin and Kevin Harvick bang doors coming out of turn 4 to the checkered flag. It's like, where has this been? I'm hopeful, but I'm not going to get my hopes.
Well, you have to be hopeful for a driver to win. So who's your pick?
Well, I'm okay. Like if we're just going off of Martinsville, because it's a big Martinsville, I'm going to take Austin Dillon because he had a great car at Martinsville. Was running in second. I think he actually finished third, maybe. So upset pick.
Austin Dillon. And then just all the storylines. Reddick leaves. Dillon shows that he can. And look, so here's my thing with Austin Dillon. I wonder if I have this theory that like any athlete that like starts doing like commercials or like TV stuff before. So here's like, okay. So like, remember when like RG3 and Andrew Luck came out the same year? Like RG3 did all the commercials. Andrew Luck did like one Nike commercial that only ran a few times.
Mm-hmm.
I think Andrew Luck knew he was going to be good for a long time. And RG3 took the money because he thought, well, I'm playing for Washington. They're bad. Think my career might not go as planned. So
tell me if you remember this, because I remember like at peak RG3, I like remember some commercial, like an ESPN commercial. I don't know, for RG3. There's like RG3, the promise.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So you remember that?
Yes,
okay.
I remember that.
It's like I just remember seeing it and going like.
But then also like Baker Mayfield, like he's had a good NFL career, I guess, but like he's not been like the number one guy that Cleveland drafted him to be, obviously. So, but he's doing progressive commercials, like he's taking the bag.
Yeah, because that was very.
Because maybe he just knows.
And Hulu.
Yeah. Because so, like, maybe he just knows that, like, hey, maybe, and like obviously, like Tom Brady can do whatever he wants because he's Tom Brady. Patrick Mahomes can do whatever commercial he wants because he's Patrick Mahomes. He's won a Super Bowl. Peyton Manning, on and on. But there's there's that other tier of athlete where I wonder if they're self-aware enough to know, hey, maybe I'm not good enough to be that top tier guy. So I'm just going to take this money too from these other commercial things because that's going to help. That's going to help sort of like get some more money that I would otherwise get from my professional sports career. I wonder if that's what's going on with Austin Dillon in that reality TV show. I wonder, because like I'm not like Austin Dillon is I know, like I said, he's Richard Childress' grandson, and that's always going to be.
I'm not an Austin Dillon fan by any stretch of the.
I'm not either. But he is a good race car driver.
When he was in the booth for the Xfinity races, or was it a truck race? No, Xfinity race at Martinsville. He was very good.
Yeah,
he's very. I did I said, I reported on a speed sports story on RCR's Resurgence, and I interviewed him for 15 minutes in the driver's lot at Talladega, and this was the first time I'd ever, to my knowledge, done a one-on-one interview with Austin Dillon. He's very analytical, very thoughtful.
Yeah,
he gives you there's stuff going on there. I was very impressed by him. And then the next day, after the Cup race, where you have this last lap craziness that happens, I think he finished third. It was a top 3 finish. So we all gather around Austin Dillon, and was it me? I might have asked the question. I wasn't sure, but he starts off his response saying, "I don't think I'll be able to tell you all that much about what happened," and then he just instantly launches into this very detailed recount of what happened over the last two laps, and I'm just going okay, it's like bam.
It's like that scene in Anchorman where everyone's encouraging him to play jazz flute at the bar, and he's like, "Oh no, I couldn't possibly do it," while he pulls out a flute from his his sleeve. He's like, "Oh no, I couldn't possibly do it. I'm not prepared." And then starts playing Aqualung. No, I'm not an Austin Dillon fan, but whenever he is interviewed, he always has something thoughtful to say, and he's a good personality. And I do agree that when he's in the booth, he's good. I remember they interviewed him last year at the road course race here in Indy, because he got in an accident, in that big accident. And, he had some pretty thoughtful things to say about what he thought about the race. I mean, he was not a fan of the new road course configuration, but he was, like you said, he was very, you can tell that there's something going on. He's not a meathead some of these drivers can present themselves to be, but
like the reality show.
And look, I know that all that stuff is for TV. You gotta make stuff, stuff for TV. I get it. But
the promo,
look, he's won 3 races. He's not just, I mean, yes, he's Richard Childress' grandson, but he's a good driver. He's proven he can win. And we say he's only won 3 races. 2 of the 3 are the Daytona 500 and the Coke 600.
Yeah.
So that's those wins speak for themselves. So that's this. Sorry to get off on a tangent about that, but nobody, because now that NASCAR is on NBC, we see commercials for that show every time it cuts to commercial break, and I'm just he's got to be anyways.
Just watching the promos, it doesn't put him in a good light. I'm
just kind of makes him look a little goofy, but then
one of them has him saying, "I just drive the race car." I'm like,
yeah, it's
come on, man.
I don't. It's but those types of shows are not for necessarily for racing diehards.
Oh, no,
I get it. It's for a totally different audience, which I get.
Like the promo for the last one, Austin Dillon's best friend, who's on his pit crew, was tasked with watching over their son Ace, and he loses him, or whatever, in the house, and there's shots of him, of this guy opening a closet to look, is he in here? I was wait, the camera is in the room already, so no.
Oh, I know, but it's TV, it's for fun, and if this is something that NASCAR thinks will help grow the sport or endear it to his particular segment of society, that's fine. I get it. I don't know why we are talking. I promise you, I will not talk about Austin Dillon's reality show anymore on this podcast. So you're picking Austin Dillon. Who, man, it's so hard to pick because I don't really know what to expect, even if I already kind of do know what to expect. But if you're going to pick Austin Dillon because of how he did at Martinsville, I'm just going to pick William Byron because of what he did at Martinsville. So, but again, who knows?
Hey, Chase Elliott also had a great day.
Yeah, yeah, he did.
So
he did.
It was him and Byron. So.
And Logano had a good race too, from what I recall, if I remember correctly. He was at least running up at the front at the beginning of that race. But I'll pick Willie B. And I'll call him Willie B because I know how much you hate William Byron being called Willie B. So
nicknames aren't what they used to be, John.
No, they're not. Does anyone even have a good nickname now? I can't. There's nothing I can think of.
Kevin Harvick has like 20 nicknames.
My favorite's Happy. He will always be happy to me. I love that.
I don't. It's like because he's not happy. Is that really it? It's like, oh, he's the opposite.
Well, yeah. He's just always grouchy, and I love like it just. Also, he looks like Kevin Harvick looks like the perfect guy to cosplay Dale from King of the Hill. Like that, he looks like
okay,
like just that juxtaposition with that name. Just love it.
All right. So, we have one comment in the chat on YouTube. Dave Mazzaroli, Blaney's gonna go off once he wins one, I think. So,
I mean, sure. I mean, yeah. I mean, if this isn't one of those weird seasons where, everyone seems to be getting a win, like Oprah handing out Toyota Priuses, he's probably solidly. I mean, it's like Jordan Bianchi said on the Teardown podcast, like there is a very real, although not probable, chance that Ryan Blaney can win the regular season standings and still not make the playoffs. I mean, it could happen.
Which is where like something like the stage win at Road America comes in.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
If by chance there were 17 winners by the time we get to Daytona, and Blaney doesn't have a win, the regular season champ gets in. So no matter what.
Yeah.
So hey, I'm all for chaos. I love it when it comes to NASCAR. And today was a chaotic day.
Yes. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. And I hope
right.
that.
So all right. It's time for our new segment that might not have a long shelf life, unfortunately. It's time for Jeff Gluck's Good Race Poll versus Rotten Tomatoes. But we had some sad probable news coming from Mr. Gluck today about his Good Race Poll. Let me see if I can find it. All right, so he said, I know a lot of you enjoyed the Good Race Poll, but unfortunately it may have reached the end of the line. Early this year, I became aware it is possible to buy votes during a poll. So I always watch the numbers to see if there's unusual movement. Well, this week it happened. The poll never moves more than a few percentage points either way after the first hour or so, but this week it suddenly plummeted 15 to 20% after the first couple hours. That can only happen with a huge influx of votes in one direction, so I don't think the results were accurate this week. I'm going to have to figure out what to do, but I can either just end the poll or find a different way to do it, like a non-Twitter poll. But I've been worried about someone trying to mess it up, and it looks like it finally happened. So this segment might not have a long life. So, but as long as that Good Race Poll exists, we're going to do this segment. So the Good Race Poll for Sunday's race in Atlanta Motor Speedway got a 67% saying, yes, it's a good race. And seeing as how it was actually a good race and Chase Elliott won.
Yes, it would have been much higher. Yes.
So I've picked my movie to compare the Rotten Tomatoes score to the Good Race Poll. John has picked his. You want to go first, John?
Sure. So I went with, I feel like I kind of shoehorned myself into going with the race theme. But I went with just the general, I didn't pick anything from Atlanta, but I did pick a movie that kind of is tangentially related to some happier news that's going on in the world of science. The Webb telescope just is revealing some very incredible pictures of space. And so I went with a space theme. So I chose Spaceballs. Nah. I mean, there are plenty that I could have picked, but I know you're a big sci-fi guy. So obviously I couldn't pick Star Wars because or anything Star Wars related, because you probably know those scores within reason. So I had to go a little bit sideways here. So I went with the spoof of it, and I chose Spaceballs from 1987, directed by the immortal Mel Brooks.
All right, Spaceballs.
Better, higher or lower than 66?
There's no way that's in the 60s.
Higher or lower than 66%?
No way Spaceballs is in the 60s. That's a classic. Spaceballs is higher.
Incorrect.
What?
Yeah. On Rotten Tomatoes website, with 45 reviews, Spaceballs has a 56%. It has a rotten score. The fan vote is 83. Critic score is 56.
I demand a recount.
Those are
in the 50s.
Don't shoot the messenger.
Okay, all right.
So as for now, that puts me in a 2-2 tie with you. So if we never do this again because Gluck's poll goes the way of the dodo, and you get this next one wrong,
for all the
Marvel. No, if I get this one right, yeah, then I win. Or if I get it wrong, then we just stay tied, and it's a gentleman's handshake. So what's the movie for all the Marvels here?
All right.
Oh, I could have chosen.
Mine's themed, but not in any not in an obvious way. I chose the 2009 football drama, The Blind Side.
Oh no!
Because the NASCAR world was blindsided today.
Yeah, I see what you did.
By the Tyler Reddick going to 2311 News, and we were blindsided by the prospect of the Good Race poll being no more. So, Jon LaFollette, the Atlanta Motor Speedway Good Race poll versus the Sandra Bullock football drama about a team that was coached by Hugh Freeze. But just your typical sports white savior sports drama. The Blind Side. 67% is what the Good Race poll was. What is The Blind Side?
I think it's lower. I really think it's lower.
You think The Blind Side's lower?
Yeah, I'm gonna go lower.
66%.
Yes! I take the lead. Possibly forever. Just depending on what Jeff Gluck does. The Blind Side, 66%. I was going to choose Contact, but it's 67% on the dot. I was like, oh, I can't.
That's also a great movie.
I was like, I can't be that guy. I can't be that guy. It's 67 on the dot, so you technically don't win at all because it wasn't high or low. So okay. Look at that.
The Rotten Tomato scores are bizarre. How Contact's considered a modern sci-fi classic. I have not seen it. I have not seen it, so I can't speak to it. But I want to see it. I want to see it. It should. It's a really good movie.
It sounds like it would be right up my alley.
It was one of those serious dramas that Matt McConaughey did before he went off on a decade of rom-coms and Sahara.
Hey, he came back to it. He did Interstellar, so
yeah. And also Sahara's a good movie. It's a fun
never saw it.
Indiana Jones type movie. So based on the Dirk Pitt novels, which I read like a fiend in middle school and junior high. So
well, hopefully some of the chaos that's been going on in the NASCAR world, at least in the terms of headlines, will transfer to the track at New Hampshire. So hopefully we have something exciting to talk about. Or who knows, maybe an Almirola-esque driver just goes up there and steals the show and we've got more playoff standings chaos to talk about. Or maybe a really smart NASCAR guy who works at one of these teams and is a strategist listens to this show and heard us talk about just gorging yourself on stage points if you don't have the car to win. And we start seeing some analytics in NASCAR. Maybe we see that. Who knows? We're trying to make the world a better place here.
Well, we know that one team is already actually doing the whole analytics thing with RFK Racing after Kozlowski hired David Smith.
Yep.
And they actually posted a tweet today that said, here are some stats from David Smith showing where areas we've improved. It's like, oh, that's neat. Cool. Because I'm curious, like, I would love to actually talk to David. It's like, what do you do?
Yeah. Like, I mean, not to be too facetious. Like, I'm not like, I'm just for jokes here, but it's like, according to this analytics, if we go faster, we can win more races. Like,
no, it's like you produce all this very interesting data and stuff. Like, how is it
applicable?
Yeah, like, what do you like? Explain.
Says here, if we go fast and turn left for the allotted amount of laps really fast, we can win races and championships. And math.
So, hashtag analysis. David Smith, don't hate us. We appreciate.
Oh yeah, no. That stuff's really cool. That is a genuine question that I'm curious about. You should get him on a podcast.
I don't know if they'll do them. So he had his own podcast for a couple of years.
Oh, there you go. Okay, so he's already spilled his secrets.
So, but anyway, I think that'll do it for this week's edition of Dropping the Hammer. Which again, today was just a weird day. Not just in NASCAR. Palou, the IndyCar driver for Chip Ganassi Racing, is having his own thing.
Who knows
today? Ganassi and McLaren in Formula One. So weird day. Weird day. So, but anyway, this has been Dropping the Hammer with Dylan McFadin. I'm Dylan McFadin. Please check out my work at FrenchRisk.com, speedsport.com. Subscribe to this podcast on your favorite platform, podcast platform. Subscribe to us on youtube.com/Dylan McFadin. And just, tell your friends. Come have a good time with us once a week. But yeah, this weekend, NASCAR's at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, the Magic Mile. Hopefully it'll be good. Anyway, John, where can they find you?
They can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Jon LaFollette. Also, if Denny Hamlin wins, he's probably going to name the lobster Ross Chastain. So,
well, and that means that Denny Hamlin's afraid of Ross Chastain because he's afraid of lobsters.
Is he afraid of lobsters? Did he say that?
Look up Denny Hamlin lobster.
Okay, will do.
Like, when the last time he won New Hampshire, the lobster was like presented to him, and he ran away. Like he did not want anything to do with the lobster. Look that up.
I just Googled it. It's not.
He fled.
Even the Monster Energy girls in the background, they're just, the girls and Denny Hamlin are just all on the same wavelength. That's my favorite thing about NASCAR is all these drivers are so relatable. So, anyways,
yeah, we're all afraid of lobsters.
Lobster.
Do you remember the days, John, going to a Walmart and then just moseying on over to the produce section, then just tapping the wall of the lobster bin? Do you remember those days?
Yeah. Yes. And looking back now, I really hate that I did that because the lobsters are probably they're already miserable because they know they're in a tank heading for certain doom, and some little snot nosed kid just won't stop tapping on the glass. If reincarnation's real, I do not want to get payback as being a lobster in a tank. It's some store somewhere where I'm just.
That's definitely one of those. Tell me how old you are without telling me how old you are. It's like, oh yeah, I remember the lobster bit.
Well, Ross Chastain's going to be that lobster. Ross Chastain's going to be that lobster in the tank come playoff time with all these drivers he's pissing off. So, and with that, I've said my piece.
All right. So anyway, thank you again for listening to Dropping the Hammer. I'm Dylan McFadin, and with me was Jon LaFollette. We'll talk to you again next time.
Cool. That was a good one.
Yeah, it was. We had a lot to talk about.
We did. Good. Thanks for staying up late. Sorry to make you wait.
Well, I mean, it's later for you. So.
Yeah, it's fine. I'll be fine. But anyways, man, I will talk at you later. I'll see you on the texts.